Welcome to Loving the Imperfect podcast, a show for seekers of deeper contemplation. I'm Brianne Trzynski. For 10 years, I've been studying offerings from holy teachers and holy texts. I'm a journalist who has listened to the stories of many people throughout the years, and I continue to be captivated by the stories of how God nudges and directs us, either by closing doors or opening them. So join me as we listen to these extraordinary stories and become witnesses to the truth of love. Hello and welcome to Loving the Imperfect. Today we'll hear from 90-year-old Dr. Daniel White, a local physician in this area, well-known and well-liked by everyone. He's going to tell us how he was sent over to Vietnam during the Vietnam War and spent some time over there with the civilians and how he touched the lives of these people. I hope that you enjoy this episode. Thank you for joining me.
I had an office in the David Whitney building in Detroit. David Whitney building is a big building down by Comerica Park. Now it's a hotel. I was in there with a very fine doctor who was going to retire, and he wanted me to take over. Vietnam was getting more active, so I tried to get in the Air Force Reserve. I went back, first time for a physical at Selfridge. I was too fat. So I went home and I lost my weight. I went back and I was colorblind. And so then I thought, well, I'm safe. Well, next day in the mail, I get a letter saying, you've been drafted and you're going to Southeast Asia. And I called my mother who lived in Ann Arbor, and I said, I'm going to Southeast Asia. That's halfway around the world. And she said, well, if you go any further, you're on your way home. I wound up going to Vietnam, and I was in a MILPHAT team, Military Provincial Hospital program. I took care of Vietnamese civilians. Of course, I didn't speak any Vietnamese, but I had an interpreter. And this was just a little kid. He wanted me to bring him back as my son. I wasn't married, and that just seemed far too complicated. But he did get to the United States, and he wound up living in Texas, got married, has 3 daughters.
And that was your interpreter?
My interpreter.
Oh, wow. And
he calls me a lot. Mm-hmm. We have a very nice relationship.
Wow. And so you're still in touch with him after all these years?
Yeah. I was in Vietnam for a year, then I was in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base, had a big hospital there. And I met some people, young Vietnamese boys there, and we got along very well, and they wanted to come here to my house for Christmas. They did come, and we had a good time. And I took a picture of myself with each one of these kids. And then I went back to Vietnam as a volunteer, and I went and visited each one of the families. And one of the boys, he was the nephew of the Bao Dai. Years ago, Vietnam had an emperor, and he was the nephew of the emperor. Oh. So I went to see his family, and it was, I think we ate at 4 o'clock, it was a 6 o'clock curfew in Saigon. And they had tablecloths in a war zone, and they had clear asparagus soup. And that was so good, so good. The day that Vietnam fell, he was killed. And he was married and had a child, and his wife was pregnant. Vietnam was falling, so they escaped to the United States. And so they had my name. And I got a call if I would take them on and foster them. And I said, I just got married. My wife was a widow with 3 little boys. And I said, I have 3 new sons. I think a little bit more than I can deal with. But I did get them a place to stay. I have a painting in my office that the nephew of the emperor painted for me. It's with a Vietnamese doctor uses to take care of people. He died. He's got at least 2 kids. And I want that painting to go to them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to find them. I don't think it's worth it much. But if their father did it and gave it to me, I don't want it to go into a garage sale.
Right.
Most people had a very negative experience. I had a very positive experience. In fact, for my 70th birthday, which was almost 20 years ago, whew,
Jeez.
Jesus, right? My wife took me back to Vietnam. When I was in Vietnam, there was this man who was really fond of the United Nations, and he would write me letters, and anyway, his daughter lived in Rochester. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I got to Rochester back in 68.
So you've been living in Rochester since 1968?
Yes, and I've been living in this house since 1970. But then I got married, and I met my wife at St. Philip's. She fell down the steps to the Undercroft, and I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that's how you met?
Yeah. She passed away a couple of years ago, so I've got 2 stepsons now, and then we have a daughter. My wife and I have a daughter. I had a heart surgery in 21 and had lots of complications. That's when I got the Get Well or Else card from Medicare. And now I'm here, peace and quiet.
So you left St. Philip's for a while and then you came back.
Yes, I did. I didn't go to church for a long time, and then my wife had passed away, and I felt this need to go back to church. And I thought to myself, why do I have this need to go? I couldn't understand why I felt I had to go back. And then I realized it was to forgive myself for things I might have said or done, and to forgive other people. You know, this idea of forgiveness, it can be very difficult. I mean, it sounds good. Oh, I forgive you. But you can't forget. But I've had a wonderful life, and I'm very grateful. It's important to keep your mind going. I used to tell my patients, you shouldn't retire. You have to have a reason to get up in the morning besides going to the bathroom. if that's all you have, well, I'm done for the day now.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of my friends, though, have gone to some place where there's no zip code. You know where that is?
Yes. Yeah. So is that hard? Is that hard when it becomes like, because how old, you're like 90,
yeah,
right? You're
right.
90 years old. So is that hard when all of your friends have gone before you?
Well, if you want to have a chit chat, it is. But
yeah.
I'm not despondent. But I was depressed after I had my heart surgery and had all those complications and was in the hospital for so many months. I'm not a depressed type person. I might have been annoyed or unhappy that going through it. But when I came home from the hospital the last time, I couldn't walk. I had around-the-clock daycare, and now I'm pretty good, you know.
Yeah, I'd say you're pretty good.
Last Saturday, my grandson and we went to the Fisher to see a show. We do okay. A lot of things I can't do, but I think my mind's pretty good. I still go to physical therapy, but I don't think I'll ever be walking as well as I would like. But when I came home, I didn't walk at all.
So going back to the Vietnam War really quick, you said that you tried to go and volunteer yourself a couple times.
Well, I tried to get into the Air Force Reserve so I wouldn't go. And I was too fat the first time. The second time I was colorblind. Then on the next day I get drafted.
Yeah.
You didn't want me before because I'm too fat?
So were you scared at all? Or were you excited?
I don't know. I put on a lot of weight before I went, so I must have been kind of scared. But I didn't feel scared. I wasn't scared. They gave me an M16 rifle and a pistol, but I never put any bullets in it because then I didn't have to clean it. I was there to take care of people. I wasn't there to shoot people.
Was there ever a moment over there that you did feel scared that something might have happened? that scared you, or?
Yeah. We were under attack a couple times, but, what did I? I was just kind of dumb because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a doctor, not a shooter.
Yeah.
And I really didn't get any training in how to shoot a gun.
So you said that you don't feel like there were any moments where God was nudging you, but...
I think he was always there.
Yeah.
When I was going through medical school and you're going through the OB part of that, you just have to know that there's somebody around who's making this baby, because it's such a miraculous thing. I think the more education you get, I don't care what it is, it opens doors. I never went to work a day in my life. You got to do something you love. You have to be grateful. Very important to be grateful, and very important to be kind. And both those things, I think, are lacking in our world today. I just have to be kind to people. Because people are incredibly nice to me. They really are. When I walk somewhere on my walker, little old ladies open doors for me. That's kind of spooky.
Well, that's really nice.
Oh, they are. They're very kind to me. My kids are very compassionate with me. Got a really nice grandson.
So your message, if you were to tell the listeners, the parishioners, everybody, what would be your advice for people? Or
don't be so judgmental, and be kind, and empathy is important. And if you do that, you may not change the world, but you can change a small part of it. It's just very important that we try to understand the other person.
Thank you for joining me on Loving the Imperfect. Next time, we will hear an interview with the priest of St. Philip's in Rochester, Michigan, Father Eric Williams. We've heard multiple people talk about how wonderful Father Eric is in a lot of these interviews, so we'll hear from him next time. I hope that you'll join me then. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day.